Decades ago, I started growing food in my front and backyard, and I realized that my mission in life is to inspire and empower others to grow their own nutrient-dense, healthy organic food. Because of this, a lot of people have come to me with their gardening questions over the years, and that got me thinking, what if we put together a community that would help budding gardeners blossom? So I finally made the idea a reality with my Urban Farm U member program. Each month, your membership includes 3 live online events, a monthly class, a chit-chat with an expert, and a monthly coaching session, plus access to the experts on our member page and a significant discount on our signature courses. I'm deeply committed to transforming our global food system, and I do this by empowering you to grow your own food. The Urban Farm membership program is a simple way to get going. Please join me in transforming your food system today. To learn more, go to urbanfarmmembership.org or text membership to 33444. That's urbanfarmmembership.org or text membership to 33444.
You're listening to the Urban Farm Podcast, your partner in the Grow Your Own Food revolution. Whether you've just been introduced to urban farming or you're a lifelong advocate, we're sure you'll leave feeling more informed, equipped, and empowered to dig deeper into the soil of your local food economy. With you every step of the way, here's your host, Greg Peterson.
Today on the Urban Farm Podcast, we have Storm Kirk to talk about her experience with building community through organic gardening. Storm lives on the South Fork of the Consumnes River in Northern California with her husband, Alan, and their youngest child, Savannah. She is the founder of Wings on the Wind Healing Arts Center and Sanctuary. The center is located on her organic farm where they raise food, herbs, alpacas, and chickens. She has a bachelor's degree in Metaphysical Science, is an ordained minister, a health practitioner, artist, author, herbalist, and Reiki Master. She has certifications in Advanced Pastoral Psychology, Herbology, Reflexology, Acupressure, Crystal Healing, Vibrational Healing, Flower Essences, and Survival Skills. She authored a book, A Pocket Full of Angels, and self-published it in 2014. Welcome to the show today, Storm.
Thank you, Greg. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have a conversation with you. So I just shared a bit about you. Can you fill in the blanks for us and share more about the path you took to get where you're at now?
Okay. Pretty simple. Bought my very first home when I was 25 and had 3 children. A budget of about $35 a week for groceries, so I needed to grow food.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't think I could fail, so we just did it. and as the years went on, it became more important that everything I became organic completely, since now I actually knew what it was. Uh-huh. And in 2009, my oldest daughter died. Aww. And I realized that I wasn't living my dream. I wasn't living what I wanted to live. And so I quit a very good job, asked my husband if he could afford to pay the bills, and we decided to set up Wings on the Wind Healing Arts Center and Sanctuary full-time and trust the universe to provide for us. Wow. And that's pretty much how we got to where we are today. Wow.
Wow, that's a powerful pass there, especially with the passing of a child. I'm sorry about that.
You know, it's a tremendous loss, and I miss her every day of my life. There's no doubt about it. But every day of my life, I get to thank her because her passion allowed us to actually fulfill a dream that was very important to us, which is living a healthy, self-sustainable lifestyle where everything is organic and we're incorporating healing into our gardens and reaching our community. And those things are very, very important to us.
Yeah, yeah. So what is Wings on the Wind Healing Arts Center and Sanctuary?
Basically, it's paradise.
Love that.
Serious. We've actually had people stop by. One of our goals here is that our front yard area, we live on a private road, is kept it's filled with herbs and flowers and stuff, but it's a site of beauty for anybody who drives by, so that they can gain a sense of peace. And we've actually had people stop and say, "Oh my gosh, you have a piece of heaven here," and we're like, "Yes, we do." But what we are is we're an organic farm who has interactive animals for healing, and a Genesis crystal, and art classes and counseling, which all incorporate within our gardens.
Wow.
And we are here to help people find their own personal happiness, and to learn to eat healthy and grow their own food, and learn survival skills in case like the grid went down, and how to help others learn those same things. That's what we do here. Like the art, for example, I have a student right now who I'm counseling, and the best way to get her to talk is to teach her new art projects.
Oh, nice.
And so she learns how to paint. She learns how to work with sculpture. She works in my gardens with me. She even comes and works with my alpacas once a week. The alpacas, another part of the garden, the farm, that are extremely awesome, because one of the main reasons we've got them is our youngest child has high functioning autism, and they calm her down. And so we figured if they calmed her down, they would calm other people down. And so they're wonderful when somebody's extremely upset or stressed, to sit them in the middle of the field and let the alpacas come to them and work on the healing.
Wow.
or to give them something I've made, like I call them critters, but they're stuffed animals made completely of alpaca fiber, which is extremely soft and cuddly. And when somebody holds on to that, it gives them a real sense of peace, because they've met the animal that created the fiber, and now they're holding it, and then they can feel the love of the animal. And so it's another healing process.
Wow.
And then I have something called a Genesis crystal, and I don't know if you know what that is.
I
Do
don't.
you?
I don't.
Okay. It is a sacred geometric sculpture that is used as a tool for manifestation, and its shape is perfectly aligned with nature.
Oh.
It generates an energy vortex that amplifies the intentions of those in its presence. It sort of like becomes an antenna that attracts, cleanses, balances, and amplifies the energy of the person or the property or wherever it's at. And we have two of them. We have one that's in our home, and we always have it set with the intention of love. And then we have a large one that we built out of copper that sits in our garden, one of our gardens.
Right.
And you can sit in it. So if you came to my home, say, after a really stressful day at work,
right,
and you really just wanted to talk, but you didn't feel like to talk, the very first thing I would do would be like, Greg, come down to the garden area by the river and get in the crystal.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
just sit. And allow the energy to just take away your day's whatever it was, and fill you with love. And then when you're feeling more at peace, then we'll talk. So it's this awesome tool that works with nature, and is just that empowers people to find the love within themselves.
Wow.
And one of its other benefits is that, especially the one we built, it's about 7 foot in circumference.
Right.
That it emanates an energy of love for up to 3 miles.
Oh, wow.
So
Gotta love
for
that.
us, we have it radiating out to our entire community in a 3 mile circumference.
Right. Wow.
But another thing we use our gardens for, and which is really awesome. Then we grow massive herbs, massive medicinal.
Yeah.
Okay, and we make salves and soaps and toothpaste and cough syrups and you name it. If we can make it or we can put it together for you, we do. And then of course there's food, which is
exactly.
We grow everything, which is always healthier for you than anything you can purchase at a store.
Amen.
So, and now that I've heard from your podcast with Cecilia, I think it was.
Oh my gosh.
That they can add 241 chemicals to organic food. I nearly had a heart attack right then.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I was very upset about that.
Well, I'm sorry you were upset, and I'm glad you now know it.
Oh, me too. It was wonderful information that was shared because I don't think anybody even assumed that was possible.
Exactly. So,
but anyway,
I want to stop you because you've referred to your sanctuary, your spaces of sanctuary, paradise. So, first of all, how many acres do you have?
We have 3.2 acres.
Nice. So, and you said it's on a private road.
It is on a private road. We have about 10 neighbors, I guess, up the road. Maybe 15 now, but yeah,
Nice.
We're on a private road.
Nice. So I'm driving to your house right now, and I pull into your driveway. What am I looking at? What's this space like? Tell us about your space.
Okay, when you drive up to our house, the first thing you see is a sign for Wings on the Wind Healing Art Center and Sanctuary, and then you see these signs that I've painted that say peace, love, serenity, that have elves and gnomes and butterflies on them.
Okay.
And chimes. And in the front are the alpacas in their barn. So that's one of the very first things you see driving up to the property.
Okay, good. The barn.
And then,
love it.
And then we have this massive rock garden. We grow rocks here, by the way.
Okay.
Of giant granite in the front yard. Okay. We have green beans and squashes and flowers and herbs. And so basically we had permaculture before we knew what permaculture was.
Love that.
In our front yard. And then we have a front porch and deck, and then we have a back porch and deck, and then we have 3 side gardens. And if you go down, we have if you go down the front and go out to the first side garden, you'll see a bunch of grapes and vegetables and herbs.
Nice.
And then we have a sacred circle and another seating area and a sacred circle to honor the 4 directions.
Oh, good.
And the elements of the earth, and a place for someone to lay down and get grounded, or just walk barefoot. It's our only grass area, actual grass area,
right,
so that people can take off their shoes and just connect with Mother Earth. And then as you walk around that, and you go down the stairs to the lower property and out the fence, there's this huge play area for the children that looks sort of like a park, and you cross over that, and we have our lower garden where we have a good portion of our major food and our fruit orchard, part of our fruit orchard. And then we have a drag well that's run with a solar pump and gravity fed up to a water tower, so we can gravity feed that garden.
Wow.
And then if you walk to the back side of that garden, you'll hit our first meadow on the river.
Wow.
And then you come up that road, and then you hit our other backside of our house, which has more gardening space and has the Genesis crystals and our office and our art studio. And you walk past that, and then you hit our chicken coop.
Oh, yay, chickens.
And then you go past that, and then we have 2 acres on the upper part of the property that is all, besides some olive trees and vinca and privets, is all nature, all wild still.
Got it.
We throw out excess seeds at the end of the year to allow whatever to grow
right
there and feed the wildlife.
Got it.
That's basic. I mean,
no, that's great. Wow, I'd love to see it. It's it sounds like a spectacular space.
It absolutely is. When I was looking for property, and I had no idea you needed gardening space, and so it was full of. It still is full of trees, and the river. My son was 6 months old at the time, and all I could think about was, this is going to be a wonderful place to raise kids, to allow them to run, play, and be free in nature. I never knew I was going to fill it with so many gardens.
How long have you been there?
This coming March, I will have been here 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's my first and only home.
You moved there in 1988?
1989.
Yeah, I've been here. I've been here at the Urban Farm since September of '89. So,
and I love it, and I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. I'm so blessed by it, and we're so blessed with, like I said, when we started the gardening, I had no idea I could fail.
We're going to talk about that in a little while.
I grew plants in the house and abundantly, so I figured if I grew something outside, it would grow abundantly too.
Yeah.
And nature must have liked me or something, because it's literally allowed me to grow prolifically all these years and just continue to expand. I started with a space, because I had to do a lot of clearing. I started with a space about 9 by 12 with my first garden.
Oh, on 3.5 acres.
Yeah, and now I have over an acre worth of gardening space with food and herbs and flowers, because it takes us about, if I do it by myself, it takes about 4 hours to water all of it, and if I do it with my husband, we get it done in 2.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit from when I first started here.
Oh, I'll bet. When did you start calling it Wings on the Wind Healing Arts Center and Sanctuary?
In 2009. I had the name Wings on the Wind since about 1998. But like I said, after my daughter died, it was time to just go full time to sharing the things I have to help others heal themselves. And so I actually sat down and painted myself a big sign that says Wings on the Wind Healing Arts Center and Sanctuary. And the reason Sanctuary was added to it, because at that same year, I had signed up to become a sanctuary for the monarch butterflies.
Oh, nice.
To designate a specific area of our property to grow milkweeds and flowers and specific plants that they come to, because they're almost gone. When I first moved here, we had monarchs galore, and then at that time in 2009, I hadn't seen a monarch in like 4 years.
Wow.
And I was just so frustrated. So I found out what I needed, and we signed up, and we became a sanctuary for the monarchs and started building them. And I had my first 3 this year.
Yay!
First 3. Yes, so excited. But we're not only a sanctuary for the monarchs, we're a sanctuary for example, the alpacas. Take in alpacas that people have abused, and we take them over. Or we had an infant one that its mom wasn't being able to feed it and nourish it right, and it came to us for healing and ended up becoming part of our farm.
Wow.
And so we take in all kinds of things, and we take in lots of stray people too.
Understand that one. Are you familiar with the woofing program?
I am. I have never done it. We pick up hitchhikers, and so we've met a couple people in it traveling through the county to their next destination, and we always give them a ride as far as we can. Yeah. We've never actually had them at our home, although I would love to, but because our daughter is high functioning autism, she would do okay with somebody for like a day or 2 or just during the day. She doesn't care if people come for that, but if they actually stayed, it would interfere with her routine, and that would be kind of
got it.
It'd be hard for her. She understands when I'm working with clients, helping with counseling or doing Reiki or something like that, because she's part of those things and she knows how to do those things. Yeah. But the gardens are ours. She doesn't care if you eat from them. She doesn't care if you walk through them or meditate in them or do those. But somebody actually working in them besides us would be probably challenging for her.
Got it. All right. Well, good. So let me just, the woofing program is, for those of you who don't know, and we'll have some people, I think we have somebody scheduled to come on and talk about it. Willing workers on organic farms it's typically younger people that travel around the world, although not always. And in exchange for room and board, they work on the farm. So it's a really cool program.
It really is. It's an awesome program.
Yeah. So how does organic gardening relate to your center, and how do you use it in the healing process of working with people?
Well, first off, everything relates back to the body, the stress we put on the body, the garbage we put in the body, the garbage we take out of the body. And if we can't help someone reach, let's say, an emotional state, we can at least teach them how to reach a healthy food state. Eating whole foods and eating things that you've grown yourself, especially things that have been grown with love, are so good for the body. Yeah. I mean, you don't even, we know this innately in ourselves, but now they have all this evidence that tells you this is good for you. So the gardens, by being able to sell the produce or give it away to someone who's in need, allows them to learn about, oh my gosh, food really actually tastes like this. For example, we're on our fourth round of strawberries this time of year. The young lady I'm counseling was over to work with the alpacas, and she always comes up to see if there's anything else she can do. And there were strawberries we had just picked on the counter, and I said, you can have some. And she took a bite of one, and she went, oh my God, I didn't know strawberries tasted like that.
Right?
And I'm like, yes, not like the store, huh?
Yeah.
And so now you've opened this door of, well, here's a reason why you should be growing your own food. Yeah. Just so you can find out what food actually tastes like. And it's so good for you and so much healthier for you. So you can't help somebody to become healthy and happy if you're not healthy and happy yourself. Yeah. So by having the food and the herbs growing and using them in our lives on a daily basis, we're a living example of how to be healthy. Yeah. We're not just, oh, I'm telling you to do this, you need to do this. The science tells you to do this. No, we're living it. It's like we don't use electricity unless absolutely necessary. We're reducing our carbon footprint. We have a wood cook stove in our house.
Oh, nice.
And today we made, we canned watermelon pickles and made pumpkin muffins, and then outside on the smoker we smoked salmon.
Wow.
And that was just the morning's activities. Those are things, so that we're using from our farm. And like in the smoker, we had an apple in our orchard this year, devastating, but our huge apple tree got extremely full. So I pruned it all out, took off hundreds of apples, right? And instead of the ones left growing bigger, everywhere where I pulled off an apple, 6 more grew. Oh, wow. And I'm not exaggerating. So our apple tree, its center trunk broke this last month. And most people would have just thrown those apples out. Okay. Instead, we took the apples that were early and cut them all up, and they're in crocks right now making apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar, yay.
And the cores and the cores and the peels, which I would normally make the apple cider vinegar, went to the deer and the alpacas and the chickens. And then the wood went into a pile for the smoker.
For the smoker,
so when we smoked, exactly. So we could smoke fish. So even though it was devastating to us that this tree broke, because we believe all things are alive, we were able to take every part of it and use it. And I still have hundreds of apples on this tree that I'm going to harvest next week to make applesauce and apple butter and more apple cider vinegar.
Well, yeah.
Which apple cider vinegar is a healing that is really good for people. So, even, people are like, oh, it's devastating that. Yeah, but this is what happened, and this is the animals got fed, this got fed. Yeah. And look, now I have some more of this, so you can have it to take home and add to your tea.
Yeah. It became part of the process, your farm process. That's perfect.
There's nothing that goes to waste here. We repurpose, recycle everything. Yeah. We another thing, if you walk around my property, you'll see lots of little black hills with plastic on them because I have like 20 compost piles.
There you go.
I have a couple compost bins, but I like piles. So we have piles, and then I just cover them. But everything here is part of the healing process. Everything from being self-sustainable, from reducing our carbon footprint in the environment, from helping the animals to helping people, to teaching people how to grow simple things, tomatoes, squashes, or for growing herbs. I always know when I'm going to meet somebody who needs herbs because my plants outside start to procreate. And
interesting.
I will have plenty to give away to put in their first gardens, to give to them, to say, here, these are the herbs that'll be best for you medicinal-wise, or these are the best culinary herbs. Right. And it usually gets you started with a relationship with the people in your community. Oh, now they're not afraid to share with me. They're not afraid to talk to me. They're not afraid to tell me about it. Yeah. And that is important to us. Building communities who can support one another, not only food-wise, but emotional-wise, education-wise.
Yeah.
It's so important. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
No. Oh my gosh, you kidding? I completely agree with you. Absolutely. So you seem extremely grateful.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So why? My sense is that there's a reason for this gratitude, and can you talk about that?
There's lots of reasons why I'm grateful for everything in my life, but gratitude is the most important thing for co-creating your life and your happiness. If you are not grateful for the things you have, you don't get more of them. You get stumped. So gratitude is so important to me. But I think you're probably referring to my daughter Shantae and her death, and allowing me to be able to do this full time, because her passing allowed me to say, hey, wait a minute. I need to be living my life purpose. I need to be helping people and working in the garden. I need to work in the garden.
Yeah.
And her dying put me in that direction. And now every day I thank her and I thank the universe that I'm in my gardens every day, that I'm helping people every day, that although I lost somebody I love tremendously, she gave me the gift of so many more people to love, so many more people to help, and the gift of realizing just how short our lives are and how important it is to be living our truth. And everybody's truth is different. You know, there's no one solid thing. But for me, happiness comes from within inside. It's not something you can get outside yourself. You have to find your happiness within yourself. Well, mine has been there for years, but it's been like, I want to be in the gardens. and it's always been, no, you know, you need to have a job, you need to be working in the public, you need to be interacting with the public. And her dying said, no, you don't. You can do this different, and you can do this better. And I'm extremely grateful for that. Extremely grateful.
You know, I get people call me out a lot, say, God, you're happy. And my response always my response always for them is, you know what? When I wake up in the morning, I have a choice.
Yes, exactly.
And
everybody.
Even if I'm not feeling well, even if, you know, something's going on, I still have a choice. And some days it's harder to choose than others. But, you know, and that's what I encourage everybody out there. Look at your choices that you're making, because there's,
That's one of the things we teach here is taking responsibility for everything in your life. And people are always like, well, it's not my fault that the car turned that way. Well, actually, it's not your fault that the car turned that way, but it is your fault that you were there because you chose to drive down that road. But everything we do is a choice. Every footstep we take, every path we take is a choice. We choose to eat healthy, or we choose not to eat healthy. We choose to be kind, or we choose not to be kind. We choose to help the planet, or we choose not to help the planet. And if you say, well, I'm only one person and I can't make a difference, then you're choosing to not make a difference. Not because you can't. One person turns into... there's not even 6 degrees separation anymore. It's like 2.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Right? And so every step we make to do something positive for somebody else or something or the planet or animals impacts the next person, and the next person impacts the next one. So choice is so important. And not doing something is a choice too. And I think that's where people forget that you chose not to do anything.
Right.
That's still a choice.
Well, I live one of those interesting lives where, yes, I do have a choice, but I don't really have a choice about doing this in the world. I've tried to walk away over the past, because I've planted my first garden in 1975. That's 41 years ago.
I know, which is pretty awesome, by the way.
Well, thank you. And in the 90s, I got into technology. In the late 80s and early 90s, I got into technology, and I tried to walk away from all this. And it just, within about a decade, I was right back, teaching people how to grow their own food and growing my own food. And so in many ways, I feel like I know I could walk away, but this is my heart's work. This is what I'm supposed to be doing on the planet. And that's just the way it is for me. I can't do anything else.
That's right. If you want to maintain your personal balance, your personal truth, you have to continue to do those things.
Yeah.
For example, we have people on a regular basis say, "You do know we live in the 21st century." I said, "Yes, I absolutely do know we live in the 21st century, but I also know that cooking on my old wood cook stove brings us together as a family."
Yeah.
And I have this great conversation piece when people walk into my home,
Yep.
and they just because they find it so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm lessening my impact on using electricity. And I'm happy using this stuff. We have an outdoor kitchen. We get hot here in the summer just like you.
Right.
Not as hot as you, but we do get hot.
Yep.
And when it's 110 outside, you want to keep the house closed, and especially us because we don't have air conditioner, and you don't want to be using a wood cook stove. So we built an outdoor kitchen with another wood cook stove that we can use, and we have a sun oven that we use, and then the barbecues and the smoker and stuff. But we love our kitchen cook stove so much that we have a tendency to cook in our house in the middle of July because we love the smells that permeate throughout the house and throughout the yards, and if most people have never cooked in one, so you don't know the difference between cooking and electric. I've done both, and there's a peace about it, and there's this connection to our ancestors about the things that they went through to establish this country for us.
Absolutely.
So for us, it's very peaceful, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you don't have any air conditioning." Well, we did, but we pulled it out, and how can you do that? Well, because we insulated everything, and we trust nature to keep our house cool. So we haven't had air conditioning in 5 years now, I think.
Wow.
And everybody's just like comes into the house. How is your house so cool? Well, we took advantage of nature last night and left all the windows open, and then closed it up by 8 this morning, and now it's cool.
Yeah. And I'm sure you planted shade. Right.
Well, I don't have to plant shade.
It just grows.
I have like 3 varieties of oaks and 3 varieties of pine and cedars and manzanitas and madrone and wild walnut trees. And I actually, in 1990, I think it was, took out 17 giant pines on my property, and you can't tell they were ever here.
Because there's so many other trees,
There's so many other trees. And people are amazed that we have so many gardens because we have so many trees. They're like, how do you have enough sun? We've just figured out where the sun is at what times of years at this time of year,
important.
and plant it in those areas. And there's always something to plant somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not kidding, Greg. We live in paradise. Somebody was looking over me 28 years ago when I walked this property and knew that I would appreciate living here because I do. And of course, then I'm spoiled too because we do have the river when we're not in drought running through our backyard.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. So how far are you from a town or a city?
Well, I actually live in a sort of town called Mount Occam. We have a post office, a restaurant, and our store is the feed store, the tire store, the True Value, the grocery store. So in Mount Occam, and then the next closest town is about 10 miles. And then an actual city is about 23 miles.
All right. So you're not out in the middle of nowhere by any means.
No, we're not out in the middle of nowhere. But we're far enough out where I never go to town. I'm not I'd rather people come here and I get to talk about stuff than actually have to go into town and deal with energies.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
My husband goes to town, and I stay home unless absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
But we, so if the closest hospital, which is an important thing, is like 23 miles from here. So, but since we grow I think we're probably up to about 80% of our food.
Wow.
Now. Yeah, it might be a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure it's at least 80%. We don't have to go to town very often, and because we reduced dairy, like milk and butter and cheeses and meat, to 10% of our diet. That's all. We never go past that. There's no reason for us to go anywhere because we can, and we dry foods, and we do everything. Oh my gosh! Like this year, my husband has made me drying racks.
Oh, nice.
That go in one of my greenhouses for my regular herbs, and and they're like 2.5 by 2.5, and they're about 2 inches high. And they're on a rack, and we took them this year, and we put them on boards and sawhorses out on our back deck to sun-dry tomatoes. We stacked them because I could put one screen on top of the other to keep all the bugs off tomatoes. So we're sun-drying tomatoes, and I thought, wow, I should try and sun-dry zucchini.
Oh, did it work?
It did. It worked fabulous.
Nice.
So we made these awesome zucchini chips, and now they're my daughter's favorite food. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get a dehydrator, which makes even better zucchini chips, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you can eat 2 handfuls of zucchini, which will be about 2.5 zucchinis, right?
Right.
And your mom's not going to yell at you for eating chips. And because they're all veggie completely, we add some garlic. We add garlic powder, chili powder, and onion powder to them, or maybe some dill, and that's her favorite food.
Wow.
she loves them, and it's really exciting because we dry everything and cook everything and can everything and freeze everything, and it's just, we bought our first freezer in 10 years because we decided, as long as we only we do a lot. We were canning so much and drying so much. We thought, God, it would be really nice if we could just freeze the fruit for the smoothies.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Right. And so we decided, okay, we'll go ahead and get a freezer back into our property. But we also have solar panels that we're getting ready to install. This is our last thing of being self-sufficient for one plug-in. I know that sounds funny,
no.
but everything, we use so little power. But if the grid went down, we would at least have one plug-in, so I could use my dehydrator and
exactly,
and vacuum my floor once in a while. But well, we have mostly wood floors, so I don't need to vacuum. But we do have people. You're gonna laugh. I live in the country, in the dirt, and I have white carpets and white furniture.
Oh my gosh! What were you thinking?
I like white,
you like
and
white?
I'm a kind of a clean freak. I admit it, but I like light, and so white is good for me.
Oh, nice.
I have lots of windows in my home so that I can see my gardens all the way around.
Good.
You stand on my front porch, you look at my front and side garden and my alpacas. You stand on my back porch, you look at my lower gardens, my side garden,
and the river, and it's full.
Oh yeah. Oh, that drought, nature. So we're in a drought in California.
Yep.
And my river has gone dry 3 years in a row this year. This year will make it the third. And we have to conserve water for, we don't have to this year, but we do still, for the future. And it was mandatory 25%. Well, because we own a farm and we have livestock, our water district did not require us to conserve water, but our feeling is we're part of the community. We do the same thing as everybody else.
Right, you conserve.
So I've got 3/4 acres worth of food growing. I've got the alpacas and the chickens, and my husband and I are like, okay, we're only allowed to water twice a week. We need to reduce our thing by 25%. We need to talk to nature and the devas and the elementals and tell them what's going on and save our 25%. And everybody's like, you guys aren't going to be able to do it. And so that's what we did. We talked to the devas and the nature and the elementals, and we told them we can water on, I think it was Tuesday and Saturday were our watering days. Those are the only days we could water. And we did it. And so, and all of our gardens last year were the most prolific they've ever been.
Isn't that amazing? Not.
And
of course. It's like, oh, how usual, right?
Right?
Yeah.
And we saved 30% versus 25 on our water.
Nice.
And all because we interacted with nature and said, hey, this is what we have going on, and you know how to take care of this stuff. Help us.
Help us, yeah.
And they did. We can't do it better than nature. We need nature to interact with us.
Yeah.
And so everything's possible, you know, even when you don't have large resources for water or this or that. You can grow big, prolific gardens by permaculture, by working with nature, by trusting your gut, you know, and just mulching, you know. There's so many things.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, it's awesome, especially working with nature. I love working with nature.
Beautiful. So I'm gonna shift on you, and I'd like for you to talk about a time you failed. I know you don't like the word. How you overcame that failure and what you learned from it, and really what we're interested in here is the learning. You know,
I think my biggest, I don't have any failures, like you said, I don't agree with that word. I think we all make mistakes and we learn from them.
Yeah.
But my previous marriage was not a good one. It was, and because of that, I stopped trusting in myself and stopped believing in myself and my truth. And so if you were going to talk about a failure, letting go of my own beliefs, letting go of what made me happy, that was a big thing. And so when I walked away from that, I realized I had done that. While you're in it, you don't realize you've done it.
Exactly.
You just shut down. But when you walk away from it and you look back, and so what I learned from it was to, no matter what my circumstances, no matter how bad a relationship I might be in, or no matter what a job situation might be, or even a child die, that I was never, ever going to not live my truth again.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where I failed the most and where I learned the most in my whole life was stick to what you know is best for you, as long as it does no harm to anybody else.
Yeah. I had a friend yesterday. She's in the midst of getting a divorce, and she said, I'm reclaiming myself.
Exactly.
Powerful, powerful words. And it doesn't even have to be in the face of getting a divorce, but
that's right.
Stand up and reclaim yourself.
We are no use to anybody if we aren't good to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, the most important thing is love thyself first and everything else afterwards. And I don't mean in an egotistical way.
No, not at all.
You have to love yourself to take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
And so, yes, reclaiming yourself is very, very important. And for me, that was probably my biggest lesson in life, because you don't realize that you can let people take your power. And again, we're not talking power, money, or any of that. Your personal power of being happy and living an abundant life.
Yeah.
It eats away slowly if you're not paying attention.
That is the case. So, on the tails of that, what do you consider your biggest success?
My biggest success. You know, I've been thinking about this question for weeks, and my whole life is a success.
Love it.
You know, I mean, I have wonderful children. I have wonderful grandchildren. I live in paradise. I have an awesome marriage. I'm living my dream of helping people on emotional, physical, spiritual levels. My being alive is my success, because I everything about my life is so awesome. And so and there is not one thing I would change. And people look at my life, because I've been through a lot of things, and say, "Oh, sure, no," because if I changed one thing, I wouldn't be where I am, where I'm at today.
You know, I I have an absolutely incredible woman in my life. She showed up about 3.5 years ago. And just like in the past 24 hours, I acknowledged her. I said, thank you for making all the choices you made, all of them, the hard ones and the easy ones, to get to a place, and for me too, to get to a place where we could meet and come together and be partners. And so I hear you.
Absolutely. See, my husband and I are the best friends and the best partners in the world. I just had a neighbor the other day go, I've never seen anybody in sync the way you two are with each other and with your gardens and with your kids and with us. And what more can you ask for in life than that? I don't need money or any of that. I just need this happiness and this peace and this, and to work in my gardens every day.
We call that farm time here at the Urban Farm. Go get lost in farm time.
And see, unlike you, I have lots of places where you can just sit and meditate in my gardens that are along the river and whatnot. So, and we have rules that you have to have downtime every day.
Oh,
you
nice.
have to take time to spend in the gardens, not working. You can't harvest anything. You can't pull any weeds. You just have to sit and enjoy. Yes.
Nice. So, what drives you?
Love for myself, love for my family, love for humanity, love for the planet, love for nature. Love is my only driving force. I can't imagine anything else making me to motivate besides love.
I can absolutely hear that. So I'm all about education. I have to know, is there one book or maybe 4 that have
probably been... I'm like you, Greg. I love to read.
Yeah.
I don't read necessarily to add something to my life, but I love to hear what people are teaching. And so I've read lots and lots of books over the years, and I was trying to downsize it for you guys, and I couldn't get past the 4. So I'll give you 4.
All right, perfect.
Okay. One of them is Pearland Garden Workbook.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Have you read it?
I have not read it in its entirety, but I know of it.
Okay, and that's Working with Nature's Intelligence by Michelle Small-Wright.
Yep.
The next one, you guys may never have heard of. It's called Survival Skills of Native California.
Oh.
And it's by Paul Campbell. Campbell. And not with a B, but with a P, P-E-L-L. And it's... about how the Native Americans of California survive off the land, from using acorns and the soap balls and everything else. And it's a wonderful book for, let's say, the grid went down, and you needed to know how to find food where you didn't know how to find it, or in the desert. All right, so Survival Skills of Native California, written by the Indians about the things of how they took care of this stuff. Wonderful stuff.
Interesting you should say that. I've got one of those for the desert here. And it's an ancient book.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. They're totally great. The next one is ancient also, but it's accumulation of ancient books. It doesn't have an author. It's called Country Wisdom and Know-How. Oh. Everything you need to know to live off the land. And it's by Story Publishers.
Oh, God, I love Story Publishers.
Okay. Well, they used to put out little pamphlets for farmers and homesteaders.
I have a huge stack of them.
Okay, well, this is a book of an accumulation of all of them.
Good. Cool.
And it has everything from organic gardening to building chicken coops to skinning animals to gathering water. I mean, everything you would need to know to run a homestead.
Wow.
And the last one is called The Trust Frequency, The High Road to Happiness. And it's by Andrew Cameron Bailey and Connie Baxter Marlowe. And it's about living on the trust frequency, which is love and abundance.
Trusting that what's going to be there to take care of you will be there. It's co-creating a new paradigm and removing the old assumptions of how we live our lives right now, and realizing that you already live on it. That we live in a trusting universe that is full of love, full of abundance, and you just have to tap into it. Nice.
And it's a really simple book for people to start to learn that concept.
Yeah. Wow. What's it called again?
It's called The Trust Frequency, The High Road to Happiness.
Nice.
And Yeah, Greg, you would want to read that book.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Well, I have to be honest with you. Part of the reason I ask every person that comes on the show is because I want new reading material. So, yay. So what one final piece of advice do you have for our listeners?
Never be afraid to do anything. Just jump in and do it. And I'll give you an example.
Please.
It says I'm an author, and I wrote a book, and it's not widely published because it's self-published. And I didn't want to write that book, but my intuition kept telling me I was supposed to, and I was supposed to, and I was supposed to. And the book, A Pocket Full of Angels, is actually about incorporating the angels into your life, and it was written because that's how my daughter with autism functions. She carries the angels with her every day. And when I finally wrote the book, I was like, oh my God, okay, I did this. And I now have a book in Ireland. Okay.
Wow.
And people are like, really? Yeah. And it's just a small little book. It's nothing fancy.
Yeah.
But we don't know whose lives we're supposed to touch. We don't know what the things we do, working in the garden, growing produce, growing herbs, learning a new skill, how it's going to positively affect somebody else. So just do it. I mean, whatever your intuition is telling you, do it, because it might change somebody's life around the world. And that's so important. Or you might make a new friend around the world, which is even more important.
Like Ireland.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, it was funny because she wanted the book, but because I don't know about if you know this, the duties and the postage are horrible.
Yeah.
Right. And she had liked my book on Facebook. And I was like, well, I'll send you one. And she was like, no, you won't. And I'm like, yes, I'll just send you one. If you feel like you're supposed to have this book, then I'll send it to you. Yeah. And she was so grateful. You know, and that's where we make a difference. Yeah. You know, that's where we make a difference. It's like your show. You share so much information, and for some people, all the information is relevant. For other people, one show is going to be relevant. Yeah. You know, but that's all that matters, because you don't quit doing it because 10,000 people liked it today. It doesn't matter if it's one. Yeah. Or 10, we want to reach who's supposed to be reached. Yeah. You know, so.
How true is that? Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show and sharing your experience with us today, Storm. It has been a treat getting to chat with you.
Thank you very much for having me, Greg. I appreciate you allowing us to share our garden. You know, I share it here in the community, but sharing it a little bit more global or however far your little show goes, I think is important, because we're only going to save this planet and humanity one person at a time, and I think it's going to be through our gardens. Yeah. So
that's what I say. So how can our listeners get a hold of you?
Okay. Well, I do have a web page, wingsonthewind.com, where we sell our alpaca fiber products and stuff, and if they wanted to talk to me personally, they can do it through that page, or they could, I guess, at Stormy Kirk with a Y, you know, just like the weather, at yahoo.com. Perfect. So, but let me, before I, you know, you can go ahead and put it up there, but let me, people know I'm not a computer person, not because I don't know. No, I know how to use it. My husband has a business in it. I'm prolific. I just... computer yard. You know, the computer loses every time.
You think?
Especially here, because our farm is a full-time business. Yeah. And so.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us on the Urban Farm Podcast. Decades ago, I started growing food in my front and backyard, and I realized that my mission in life is to inspire and empower others to grow their own nutrient-dense, healthy organic food. Because of this, a lot of people have come to me with their gardening questions over the years, and that got me thinking, what if we put together a community that would help budding gardeners blossom? So I finally made the idea a reality with my Urban Farm U member program. Each month, your membership includes 3 live online events, a monthly class, a chit-chat with an expert, and a monthly coaching session, plus access to the experts on our member page and a significant discount on our signature courses. I'm deeply committed to transforming our global food system, and I do this by empowering you to grow your own food. The Urban Farm membership program is a simple way to get going. Please join me in transforming your food system today. To learn more, go to urbanfarmmembership.org or text membership to 33444. That's urbanfarmmembership.org or text membership to 33444.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Urban Farm Podcast. Remember to listen 3 days a week for tips, advice, and resources to help you on your journey with urban farming. You can find us on the web at urbanfarm.org or send us an email to podcast@urbanfarm.org. In the words of Vincent van Gogh, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Be encouraged that with each lesson learned and skill developed, you are one step closer in the direction of your dreams.